All right, Alexa, thank you. And as we continue to follow breaking news in our nation's capital.
Yeah, aviation expert JP Tristani is joining us now, excuse me, with more on this. Good morning, JP. Thanks for taking the time to be with us this morning.
Good morning.
Well, I think a lot of folks this morning have the same questions that President Trump is bringing up. Like, how could this have happened? It was a clear evening. You've got a commercial jet, an Army helicopter. They collide on a course. It's in such a tightly controlled airspace. And from what I understand, this is not unusual to have these types of training exercises taking place near the airport. So how could this have happened?
Well, first of all, to be perfectly clear, there was probably the highest probability that an aircraft with priority was making a landing somewhere around 400 feet, which would put it about a minute from touchdown, and a helicopter, Army type, flew into it. So that's the cause of the crash, with the highest probability. A helicopter flew into an aircraft that was prioritized to make a landing. So now we have to go to the contributory causes. What was the problem with the communications? The radar capability aboard that UH-60 that could tell of any threats to its aircraft within 360 degrees. And then we have also the fact that the commercial jet would not have its collision avoidance working, simply because it becomes inactive below 1,500 feet above ground level. So now we have that contributing factor of communications with the tower, communications with that helicopter, and what was it doing in that restricted airspace, whether it's a training flight or not. It had no business being within that approach corridor.
You know, JP, there are obviously safety protocols in place to prevent things like this from happening, but in this case, between the protocols and air traffic control, was there some kind of miscommunication, you think, there that may have led to this collision?
There had to be a communications failure for the simple reason that that helicopter and the commercial airliner would have all been on tower control. That helicopter has two types of radios. One is the civilian type radio, the VHF. The other one is the military radio, the UHF. So their communication could not have been faulted with regard to absence of radio. The problem is contact. Now, the tower also has a radar that could tell of any type of warnings of aircraft that are in too close proximity to one another. So there you have the contributing causes. It starts with the tower, it starts with the helicopter, and the lack of communications. But the victim is the commercial jet that was just going in for a landing, a normal landing, and maybe 1 minute away, and the helicopter ran into it, caused an explosion. There is no recovery that would be ongoing right at this moment. That is going on right at this moment, but that ended hours ago. That explosion and that helicopter with those whirling angry palm trees over its head is like running into a buzzsaw. So we're not talking about a normal crash landing into the water. What we had is an aircraft that was literally blown up in the sky, and also it ran into a buzzsaw. And so now you have the aircraft falling into the water, passengers strapped in, not with life preservers, and of course the frigid waters that hypothermia would within 30 minutes cause incapacitation to a person who is functional, let alone possibly injured from the explosion or the helicopter.
Yes, I know. Let's talk next steps then, because I've already read reports that they found what they believe is one of the black boxes. So there are two different types, correct? Like one that records one sort of data, and then the other records another. So do they need both to figure out exactly what happened?
Well, it would be helpful. The cockpit voice recorder of a commercial airliner is going to tell you what was going on in a cockpit, but quite frankly, I think they were stunned. And so the fact of what they would have said that would be recorded in a cockpit voice recorder, I don't think there's going to be anything on there except that it stopped working. The flight data recorder is located in the tail of the aircraft, and that explosion should probably not have influenced that. But all you're going to find on it is an aircraft that was coming in for a normal type of approach. Pop on, no problems, 1 minute from touchdown. Whether the UH-60, though, carries a cockpit voice recorder, I'm not quite sure that the military aircraft do carry that. So what you're going to have is very simple, as I said. You had a helicopter in a place where it shouldn't have been, and it ran into a landing aircraft.
All right, JP Tristani, thank you so much for joining us this morning. This investigation really just beginning.
Yeah, thank you so much for your insight. Appreciate it.
My pleasure.
All right, it's 8:23, and we'll be right back.
How many times